Have you ever wondered why Hollywood keeps recycling the same 80s classics while genuinely great movies are left to gather dust? The uncomfortable truth is that some of the decade's most entertaining films were buried by bigger marketing campaigns and louder blockbusters. Chances are you have never even heard of several movies on this list. Today we are uncovering 15 forgotten 80s films that still feel surprisingly fresh, exciting, and relevant in 2026. Number 15, The Heavenly Kid, 1985. Few forgotten movies capture pure 1980s charm, quite like The Heavenly Kid. At first glance, it looks like another light fantasy comedy from the era. Then, it slowly reveals a surprisingly heartfelt story about second chances and personal growth. The film follows a rebellious teenager from the 1960s who dies in a drag racing accident and returns decades later as a guardian angel assigned to help an awkward high school student. What makes the movie stand out is how effortlessly it blends humor with genuine emotion. Instead of relying on special effects or action scenes, it focuses on relationships and self-confidence. The fish-out-of-water comedy works because the guardian angel struggles to understand the changing world around him. His outdated cool guy attitude constantly clashes with the realities of modern teenage life. Many viewers miss this film because it arrived during an era crowded with bigger fantasy hits. Yet its themes remain universal: the desire to fit in, the fear of rejection, the importance of believing in yourself. Those ideas feel just as relevant now as they did 40 years ago. That timeless quality is exactly why The Heavenly Kid deserves another chance in 2026. Number 14, The Boy Who Could Fly, 1986. Imagine discovering a movie that feels like a forgotten fairy tale, hidden inside the decade of neon lights and action heroes. That is exactly what The Boy Who Could Fly delivers. This touching fantasy drama tells the story of an autistic teenager who believes he can fly, and a young girl who slowly begins to understand him. Unlike many family films of its time, this movie refuses to talk down to its audience. It treats its characters with respect and allows emotional moments to unfold naturally. The relationship between the two young leads feels authentic, which makes the story even more powerful. Instead of focusing on spectacle, the film explores loneliness, grief, and hope. The reason it still works in 2026 is simple. It is sincere. Modern movies often chase bigger visuals and louder action. The Boy Who Could Fly succeeds through quiet storytelling and emotional honesty. Every scene builds toward a conclusion that remains memorable decades later. While it never achieved the lasting fame of larger fantasy classics, the movie developed a loyal following among viewers who appreciate heartfelt storytelling. If you enjoy films that leave a lasting emotional impact, this forgotten gem is absolutely worth rediscovering. Number 13, North Shore, 1987. Most people remember the surfing movies that became major cultural events. Very few remember North Shore. That is surprising, because this film remains one of the most authentic and entertaining sports dramas of the entire decade. The story follows Rick Kane, an Arizona teenager who masters artificial wave pools before traveling to Hawaii to prove himself against real surfers. What begins as a simple sports story quickly becomes a journey of personal growth. Rick enters a world where skill alone is not enough. Respect must be earned. Pride must be challenged. Experience matters more than confidence. What separates North Shore from countless sports films is its authenticity. The surfing sequences still look impressive because they rely on real talent rather than visual tricks. The Hawaiian setting gives the movie an atmosphere that remains appealing today. More importantly, the film understands that every great sports story is really about character development. In 2026, audiences continue searching for inspiring underdog stories. North Shore delivers exactly that, while avoiding many of the cliches common in modern sports dramas. It is energetic, honest, and surprisingly engaging from beginning to end. For a movie that has largely disappeared from popular conversation, it has aged remarkably well. Number 12. Whitewater Summer, 1987. At first, this looks like a simple wilderness adventure. Then Whitewater Summer transforms into something far more intense and memorable. Starring Kevin Bacon and Sean Astin, this overlooked film combines survival drama with psychological tension in a way that still feels effective today. The plot centers on a group of teenagers sent into the mountains under the guidance of a rugged outdoorsman. Initially, the trip seems designed to teach responsibility and confidence. However, the guide's increasingly reckless decisions begin pushing the group into dangerous territory. What follows becomes a battle between authority and common sense. Kevin Bacon delivers one of the strongest performances of his early career. His character remains fascinating because viewers never fully know whether he is inspiring or irresponsible. That uncertainty creates tension throughout the movie. Sean Astin also brings authenticity to the role of a teenager, struggling to find confidence in difficult circumstances. Many adventure films from the 1980s now feel dated. Whitewater Summer does not. Its realistic approach to danger and character conflict keeps it engaging even today. It deserves recognition as one of the decade's most underrated survival stories, and a movie that still holds viewers' attention in 2026. Number 11. 3 O'Clock High, 1987. Every generation has school movies. Very few manage to create suspense from something as simple as an after-school fight. 3 O'Clock High takes that basic idea and turns it into one of the smartest teen films of the decade. The story begins when mild-mannered student Jerry Mitchell accidentally angers a mysterious transfer student named Buddy Revell. Before long, Jerry learns he has been challenged to a fight scheduled for 3 o'clock. The entire movie unfolds as the clock slowly counts down toward that inevitable confrontation. What makes the film special is its unique sense of tension. Every classroom conversation, every hallway encounter, every attempt to avoid trouble only makes the situation worse. The movie transforms an ordinary school day into something that feels almost like a thriller. The direction is stylish. The pacing is excellent. Most importantly, the anxiety experienced by Jerry remains relatable. Nearly everyone remembers facing a situation they desperately wanted to avoid, but could not escape. While bigger teen comedies dominated the decade, 3 O'Clock High quietly built a reputation among film lovers. In 2026, it remains funny, suspenseful, and refreshingly different from almost every high school movie released before or since. Number 10. The Big Picture, 1989. Here is a movie that predicted many of Hollywood's problems long before social media and streaming services changed the entertainment industry forever. The Big Picture follows a talented film school graduate who believes success is just around the corner. After creating an award-winning student film, what he discovers instead is a world filled with compromises, unexpected setbacks, and endless studio interference. Kevin Bacon delivers a relatable performance as a dreamer, slowly learning that artistic success and commercial success are not always the same thing. The movie works because it refuses to paint Hollywood as either completely magical or completely corrupt. Instead, it shows the frustrating reality that exists somewhere in between. What makes this film especially relevant in 2026 is how modern its themes feel. Creative people still face pressure to alter their vision in pursuit of broader appeal. Independent artists still struggle against larger corporate interests. Those conflicts have not changed. Although it never achieved major blockbuster status, The Big Picture remains sharp, funny, and surprisingly insightful. It is the kind of forgotten film that becomes even more interesting with age, because its observations about the entertainment business continue to ring true decades later. Number 9. Lady in White, 1988. Some horror movies rely on jump scares. Others depend on graphic imagery. Lady in White chooses a completely different path. It creates fear through atmosphere, mystery, and emotion. The result is one of the most overlooked supernatural films of the 1980s. The story centers on a young boy who becomes connected to the ghost of a murdered girl after a terrifying encounter inside his school. As he investigates the mystery, he uncovers secrets hidden beneath the peaceful surface of his small town. What begins as a ghost story gradually transforms into a suspenseful investigation filled with unexpected twists. One reason the movie still works so well is its ability to balance multiple genres. It functions as a coming-of-age tale. It works as a mystery. It succeeds as a supernatural thriller. Yet none of those elements overpower the others. Everything feels carefully connected. Unlike many horror releases from its era, Lady in White never received the attention it deserved. In 2026, its haunting atmosphere and emotional storytelling remain surprisingly effective. The film proves that genuine suspense never goes out of style, and that sometimes the quietest horror stories leave the strongest impression. Number 8. Fandango, 1985. Not every great road trip movie becomes famous. Fandango is proof of that. Despite featuring an early performance from Kevin Costner, this adventurous comedy drama slipped through the cracks and became one of the most underrated films of the decade. The story follows 5 college friends embarking on one final journey before adulthood changes their lives forever. Set against the uncertainty of the early 1970s, the trip becomes a celebration of friendship, freedom, and youthful recklessness. Along the way, they encounter bizarre situations, unforgettable characters, and moments that range from hilarious to surprisingly emotional. What makes Fandango special is its authenticity. The friendships feel real. The conversations feel natural. The movie understands that growing up often means leaving important parts of your life behind. That emotional truth gives the film lasting power. Many coming-of-age stories focus entirely on romance or personal ambition. Fandango explores something equally important: the bond between friends facing an uncertain future. That theme remains universal, which is why modern audiences continue to connect with it. More than 40 years later, the film still feels adventurous, heartfelt, and genuinely memorable. Number 7. Dreamscape, 1984. Long before audiences were amazed by dream-based science fiction blockbusters, there was Dreamscape. This inventive thriller explored the idea of entering another person's dreams years before similar concepts became mainstream. The film follows a man with extraordinary psychic abilities who is recruited by a government program studying dream manipulation. What starts as a fascinating scientific experiment soon becomes something far more dangerous when he uncovers a conspiracy connected to the President of the United States. From that moment, the story races forward with increasing intensity. What continues to impress viewers is the movie's imagination. Dream sequences allow the filmmakers to create bizarre landscapes, terrifying creatures, and unforgettable visual ideas. Considering the technology available in 1984, the creativity on display remains remarkable. Beyond the fantasy elements, the film also explores political paranoia and fears surrounding nuclear conflict. Those themes gave the story depth and helped it stand apart from more conventional science fiction adventures. While many people have forgotten Dreamscape, its influence can still be felt in later films that explored similar concepts. In 2026, it remains an engaging reminder that great ideas never become outdated. Number 6. Night of the Comet, 1984. Picture a post-apocalyptic world where most of humanity has vanished overnight. Now imagine that story being told through the perspective of two resourceful teenage sisters. That unusual combination is exactly why Night of the Comet has endured as a cult favorite. The premise begins when a mysterious comet passes Earth. By the next morning, civilization has collapsed, and the surviving population is almost non-existent. Rather than focusing solely on despair, the movie mixes suspense, humor, science fiction, and adventure into a uniquely entertaining experience. What truly separates the film from countless apocalypse stories is its tone. The main characters remain proactive and capable, instead of simply reacting to events. Their determination gives the movie energy that keeps it moving forward. The deserted city locations also create a strangely fascinating atmosphere that still looks impressive today. Modern audiences often praise films with strong character-driven storytelling. Night of the Comet delivered exactly that decades earlier. It combines creativity with personality and never takes itself too seriously. While bigger science fiction movies overshadowed it during the 1980s, this forgotten gem has aged far better than many of its more famous competitors. That is why it continues finding new fans in 2026. Number 5. The Legend of Billie Jean, 1985. Sometimes a movie arrives years before audiences are ready to appreciate it. The Legend of Billie Jean is one of those films. Released in 1985, this rebellious drama tells the story of a Texas teenager who becomes an unexpected symbol of justice after a series of events forces her to run from the authorities. What begins as a local dispute quickly grows into a nationwide phenomenon. As media coverage spreads, Billie Jean transforms from an ordinary young woman into a cultural icon. People who have never met her begin viewing her as a hero. Others see her as a troublemaker. The film explores how public perception can completely reshape reality. One reason the movie feels remarkably modern is its understanding of media influence. Long before viral videos and social platforms existed, it examined how stories can spread rapidly and inspire large groups of people. That idea feels even more relevant today than it did during the 1980s. Helen Slater delivers a confident performance that anchors the entire film. Combined with an energetic pace and memorable soundtrack, the result is an overlooked classic that still resonates with modern audiences. Few forgotten movies from the decade feel as surprisingly contemporary as The Legend of Billie Jean. Number 4. Explorers, 1985. Every generation dreams about reaching the stars. Explorers captures that sense of wonder better than almost any family science fiction film from the 1980s. Despite featuring future stars Ethan Hawke and River Phoenix, the movie never achieved the widespread recognition many believe it deserved. The story follows three imaginative teenagers who build a homemade spacecraft after receiving mysterious visions during their sleep. What begins as a simple experiment soon becomes an extraordinary journey beyond Earth. Unlike darker science fiction films of the era, this movie embraces curiosity and adventure at every opportunity. What makes Explorers so enjoyable in 2026 is its optimism. The characters are driven by imagination rather than fear. Their excitement about discovery becomes infectious. Viewers are reminded of an era when science fiction focused on possibility and wonder instead of destruction and chaos. The special effects may reflect the technology of the time, yet the film's heart remains timeless. Friendship, creativity, and exploration continue to resonate with audiences of every age. While bigger science fiction titles dominated the decade, Explorers quietly earned cult status among viewers who appreciate stories filled with imagination. It remains one of the most charming hidden treasures the 1980s ever produced. Number 3. Big Trouble in Little China, 1986. Now we arrive at a movie that somehow managed to be ahead of its time and completely misunderstood at the moment of its release. Big Trouble in Little China combines action comedy, fantasy, martial arts adventure, and supernatural mythology into one wildly entertaining experience unlike anything else from the decade. Kurt Russell stars as Jack Burton, a truck driver who believes he is the hero of the story. The joke is that he spends most of the movie confused, while other characters handle the truly important tasks. That clever reversal immediately separates the film from traditional action adventures. Instead of presenting an unbeatable hero, it gives audiences a lovable character constantly struggling to keep up. Director John Carpenter fills every scene with creativity. Ancient sorcerers, mystical powers, hidden worlds, and unforgettable villains create an atmosphere that feels unique even today. The movie moves at an incredible pace and never runs out of surprises. Many viewers did not know what to make of it in 1986. As the years passed, however, audiences began recognizing its originality. In 2026, Big Trouble in Little China stands as one of the greatest cult films ever made. Its humor, energy, and imagination remain every bit as entertaining as they were decades ago. Number 2. Miracle Mile, 1988. Imagine answering a ringing telephone only to hear a terrified stranger reveal that nuclear missiles are already on their way. That chilling premise drives Miracle Mile and turns what begins as a simple romance into one of the most nerve-wracking thrillers ever produced during the 1980s. The film follows an ordinary young man who accidentally receives a phone call meant for someone else. The caller claims that a nuclear attack has already been launched and that Los Angeles will be destroyed within minutes. Unsure whether the warning is real, he races across the city searching for the woman he loves, while chaos slowly begins spreading around him. What makes Miracle Mile so effective is its realism. There are no action heroes. There are no secret agents. The story focuses on ordinary people trying to process extraordinary news. Every decision feels believable. Every minute feels important. The tension continues building until the film becomes almost unbearable in the best possible way. Many movies about global disaster rely on spectacle. Miracle Mile relies on atmosphere and uncertainty. That choice allows it to remain powerful decades later. In an era filled with large-scale blockbusters, this forgotten thriller still feels unique. Its suspense remains gripping, and its ending continues to spark discussion among movie fans in 2026. Number 1. War Games, 1983. Before cyber attacks became headline news, and before artificial intelligence entered everyday conversation, there was War Games. Few films from the 1980s have aged as gracefully or become more relevant with time. That is why it earns the top position on this countdown. Matthew Broderick stars as a talented teenager who accidentally accesses a military computer system while searching for new video games. Believing he has found an advanced entertainment program, he begins playing what appears to be a harmless strategy game. Unfortunately, the computer controlling the simulation cannot distinguish between practice and reality. Suddenly, the world edges toward a catastrophic conflict. The brilliance of War Games comes from its intelligence. Rather than relying on explosions or endless action sequences, it builds suspense through ideas. The movie explores technology responsibility and the dangers of placing too much trust in automated systems. Those themes feel astonishingly modern, more than 4 decades after its release. What is most impressive is how entertaining the film remains. The pacing is sharp. The characters are memorable. The tension never disappears. While many forgotten movies survive only because of nostalgia, War Games survives because it continues speaking directly to modern audiences. In 2026, it feels less like a relic from the past and more like a warning from the future. That lasting relevance makes it the ultimate forgotten 80s movie that still holds up today. So there you have it. 15 forgotten movies that prove the 1980s offered far more than the handful of classics everyone talks about. Some were ignored. Some were misunderstood. All deserve another look. Which hidden gem surprised you the most? Share your pick below and subscribe for more movie countdowns.